in a world of uncertainty.
River's jizzing in his pants, and then you bring up your wife in the next sentence. Like, I know where we're going. What is going on?
There is only one place you can turn for fair dinkum advice.
One word, unbelievable. 2 words, holy shit. 3 words, oh my god.
A place where the undeniably American
It sounds so weird in like an Australian accent.
meets the undeniably Aussie.
Hey, let's stop the foreskinning for some absolutely wonderful segments later.
Where the analysis is solid
I, for one, was not one of those haters, as I picked a Rams victory.
Look, I think he can get over 150 yards in this game, easily.
Kick his ass, Tyler Bass!
and everything else is out to kill you.
There's going to be shrinking nutsacks all over the place.
Welcome to the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
G'day, and welcome in to the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. You know me, I'm Matty C, and before we start, I like to do this every time, and I'm going to do it now before we invite in the other guys. Just going to do the quick whip around on things that I usually do. But firstly, and very most importantly, is that I'd like to acknowledge the traditional landowners of the land that myself and Manjot are dialing in from today here in Canberra. It's traditionally Ngunnawal and Ngambri land, and we'd like to pay respect to the owners and the leaders here who are past, present, and emerging. Also, our special guest will be dialing in from here in Canberra today, but we'd also like to extend that acknowledgement up to the Darwall people, where Taylor is dialing in from in Wollongong, and pay respect to the leaders there, past, present, and emerging as well. The traditional landowners on Australia is very important, we think, to acknowledge them straight from the outset. I'd also just like to let you know you can find us too, because we are all over social media, and it has been growing and growing and growing, and each week, we've got more places where we are. Okay, we all know through the link tree, you can get all of them, and that's just at linktree/Aussie NFL Fantasy. You can also find our YouTube, our Instagram, our TikTok, and now Snapchat, all by searching at Aussie NFL Fantasy, and you can get them all through the link tree. Also our Twitter, where we are at AU NFL Fantasy. Our email address is aussieNFLfantasy@gmail.com. And lastly, if all of those are not for you, visual, audio, typing it out, how about you speak it? Go and find us on Anchor, who are our podcast host site, and go to anchor.fm/Aussie NFL Fantasy. There's a leave a message button there. You can leave us a message up to a minute long. I've had enough of doing this bit. Now I'm going to bring in the guys, and it's a great show. We're going to be doing it in a few parts for the video, but the audio is all going to come out in one big swing. And we are making some big calls tonight. So let's throw in a drop and bring the guys in.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
So why not attack the host of this show?
I feel like we should organise some sort of prize for you or something. I don't know.
Last week, everyone had AIDS. This week, everyone has Yades.
Aussie.
Funnily enough, this position is called tight end, but it's leaving me with my end less than tight.
NFL.
You know what you do. You go and get T. Higgins,
I don't know why, I just had this feeling you wouldn't like Joe Mixon.
David Montgomery,
Hunter Henry,
Jarvis Landry,
Teddy Two Gloves.
Kenyon Drake.
Fantasy.
Byron Pringle was actually pretty good.
Yeah, mate. There's a Chris Kringle, that guy.
That didn't sound very exciting.
There's only one quarterback I think is hotter.
Don't take it. There's a pick I want, man. Don't take it, mate.
This is how big of a fan I am. I have a 49ers checker set.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
The only thing that was tightening up was my pants.
All right. We're all back. We're refreshed. We've had our name brand drink of choice, and we're ready to go for round 2 of our bold calls. And, you know, I think it would be only the most hospitable of things to do after the first round, where we got to start with Taylor. He missed last week. We're going to go with our guest this time round. Marky Mark, you got a bold prediction for us for round 2.
I do. I'm going to drag it back to theme, and we're going to go back with a fantasy one. And Taylor, you're going to hate this.
He's going to hate this.
Elijah.
Yes.
You're going to hate
it's
it.
Elijah, I'm out.
Can you just mute him for a minute, Matty, just so I can get it out? And then
Okay. Yeah.
I'll go.
So I've always been a big Jerry Jeudy fan. I've always thought the talent was there. It's just the opportunity. And when you look at his stat break, so 2020, he had a 16.5 average, he had 14 20-plus receptions and 4 40-plus. That was a combination, if I've got this right, it was Teddy and Brett Rypien, something like that. Um, 2021 took a bit of a dive, played 4 less games. Average dropped to 12.3, 720 plus receptions, and only 140 plus reception, no touchdowns. First season was 3 touchdowns. And that was pretty much Teddy. Drew Lock, that horrible guy who's now at Seattle. With Russ going there, and this is the part Taylor's going to hate, Judy is currently ADP, from what I've got here, is 24th wide receiver. I'm anticipating him to take a massive leap and be a top 10 wide receiver this year.
Yeah, I can see this. I'm a Mark's bandwagon here. I can see this happen. I'm agreeing with Mark. I think Jerry Jeudy has that sort of potential to be a Cooper Kupp sort of breakout player this year. I'm putting Jeudy as my breakout fantasy patient performer award prediction this year.
Wow.
Because I think, I'm going to put that one out there. I think he's going up there. I think none of the Kupp sort of stratosphere, but he's going to have a breakout like Kupp where he announces himself as a fantasy player to watch for the next few years to come. And I definitely 100% agree with Mark here. I think Jerry Jeudy, Russell Wilson, if he's already putting up decent numbers with shit like Drew Lock, he's gotta have a good time with Russ, right? Gotta have the best time of his life with Russ. And he's gonna have at least 20 points per game, surely, in most leagues. That's gotta happen. Yeah. Taylor, your thoughts? We've been waiting, man.
He's very quiet.
I don't know if you've heard the last couple of pods I've done, especially on the mocks, but I completely agree with you. Like, I've talked shit about Russ, and I do not waver. But I've also said how much better these guys, these receivers, are going to be with Russ instead of Drew Lock. Like, I'm not a complete moron. Like, I understand this offense is going to get better. I've just got my issues with everyone hailing Russ like he's the best things in sliced bread, and we didn't see anything out of him the last 3 years. I know there was a couple of years where he started well and he just fell off an absolute cliff, and then everyone just blamed his mallet finger or whatever the fuck it was last year. But he actually was an absolute sack of shit. I know he is a very good quarterback, and the only thing that I would slightly disagree is that I'm more on the Cortland Sutton side. I think Sutton's going to be the guy that's going to be the biggest beneficiary of Russell Wilson going there. But that doesn't mean I think Jeudy isn't good either. Like, I would put them both probably ahead of their ADP right now. So I draft them. I'm not, even though I've got my issues with Russ, I know they're going to be far better than they've been in the last couple of years with just horrendous quarterback play. So I've got no issue if you're taking your shot on Jeudy and saying he's top 10, because I'd probably be happy to say Cortland Sutton's probably close to that.
What do you got to say to that, Marky Mark?
Look, and he's right. He's 100% right. What I would say, though, is, to me, Cortland Sutton is similar to what he's had, and they're not the same guy, so don't hear what I'm not saying, but he would be more similar to DK in terms of the routes he runs, how he'll be used. Jeudy would be, if I was to think of a close comparison, and I don't know how close everyone would agree with this, but maybe Doug Baldwin, maybe.
Yeah, I'll say more Baldwin than Tyler Lockett for sure.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett's completely different. Like, he's more of a burner.
Yeah.
I see him more of he can be used at all 3 levels, which I think opens him up. So, I've said top 10. I'll stick by that. But
wow.
And you're probably not wrong, Taylor, that Cortland Sutton will be pretty close to him if they go, even say 2 top 15 receivers for the Broncos. That's awesome.
Yes, absolutely, and it would be like Russ facilitating DK and Lockett. Like, they've had years like that. Lockett's sort of hasn't been consistent enough, and he's sort of finished 15 to 20 and stuff. But you've seen what he's done for DK, and I guess you are right that's probably the comparison I'm looking at. Like, you saw DK have years where he's close to top 5, and Cortland Sutton's got that massive body, 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is. So I'm seeing a lot of comparisons to the way that DK played with Russ that Sutton could. So that's just where I'm taking the shot. But Judy was phenomenal coming out, and like he just has he's such an athletic, like the athletic profile is just ridiculous on him. So it's probably going to be someone, like if you just took both of them, like you pretty much guarantee one of them is going to be far ahead of their ADP this year. It's just up to you whether you take your shot on Judy or Sutton or both, really.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I was thinking, man, you got to pump the brakes on this. I don't think it can be both. I know you're saying, Tay, you might expect them both to finish higher than their ADP. I don't think they both can. And I don't think they can both be top 15 receivers in a world where we're already looking at 2 Dolphins receivers saying they're probably going to be top 15 receivers and 2 Bengals receivers saying they're probably going to be top 12.
Yeah, top 2.
Top 1 and 2.
And I said 2 Niners receivers. I said 2 Niners receivers.
Now we've got
that's
all the spots are gone.
That's 8 guys we've just put in the top 15, so there's only room for 7.
And Alan Lazard.
What about Adams, Cobb, Jefferson?
Whoa, easy, guys, easy.
Yeah.
Julio, Cyril Grayson.
Never heard of it.
I am waiting for that Cyril Grayson breakout year. But no, so that's where I think, in practical terms, and this is not just me just raining on parades because I love doing that, but we're at a stage where okay, so we're going to elevate these guys. Well, people are going to drop, and I'm just not sure that we're the people who've got ahead of all of these fellas that can really be possible. So for me, I think, I like that Marky's calling a shot on one or the other, and he's taken Judy because I think that's probably where I'd lean, because for me as well, if I was going to draft now, Sutton and Judy's the cheaper option, and when it's closer like that, I'd prefer to just spend less. And that's really the reason why, is that I know that I'd be spending less. So if I can get that back from him, it was a more worthwhile pick than spending up to get Sutton.
Remember, I said that in our first mock. Judy was going before Sutton, so I took Sutton because of the value, and now all of a sudden it's flipped. Sutton's going ahead of Judy, so you're not wrong. Like, it probably would be better just to wait for Judy. The problem is, like, in drafts, they're not too far from each other, so depending, unless you're on, like, you got another pick coming, not like far after the one you're doing, you're probably gonna have to take a shot on one of them, whether it's the one that's higher in ADP or not.
Like 12 team, they're both going in the 3rd round.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So very close.
And I think, in that round, you just hope someone else makes the decision before you can just get the one left over. I don't know if I want to be the one who's deciding, I'd much rather be in the position where one falls.
Yeah, for sure.
You got anything to add to that one, Manjot?
Nah, I'm all good. I think that was a great call there by Marky Mark.
I do like it.
He deserves.
What do you think about your second one, though, Manjot? If we're going to put you in the middle, Manjot in the middle. It's been too long since we've had Manjot in the middle. Fire up the theme song.
This will be 100% the most controversial pick of this whole phone call segment.
Yes.
And this might be one I'm stealing from Taylor. All right. Now, for the last 3 or so years, this guy always getting drafted. In my opinion, 100%. He's way too high, overdrafted, mainly because of his position. You shouldn't be taking him in the 2nd round like everyone does. I'm talking about one chief, and that's Patrick Mahomes. Look, I am not high on Patrick Mahomes this year. This guy has absolutely lost Tyreek Hill. He's won the best receiver. He's the best receiver he's had, pretty much, if you can argue with Kelsey. Hill had that big playability that could give Mahomes more points. Now he's lost that. He's instead got Juju. He got like Sky Moore, who's a rookie that is, of course, of every rookie unproven. You've got other guys like Miko Hardman at wide receiver. You still got Kelsey, but I think that Hill is a huge loss. I think Mahomes, I can see about maybe 8 to 10 quarterbacks finish above Mahomes this year. I can see him finish between 9 to 11. I can see him finish outside the top 10. And I know that is a huge take. But all right, let me list some.
I thought you were going to say outside the top 5. And
I would say 5.
That's a good thought.
Wow. Look, okay, I can see him finish out in that 8 to 11th range in a bad year. This is all right. I take Josh Allen, obviously, Justin Herbert, obviously, Lamar, Kyler. So that'd be at least 5th.
So 5, yeah.
Yeah. So he'd be at least fifth there. You can see guys maybe. So I've said what Lamar, Kyler. Now you got guys
Dak?
maybe like Russ.
Dak,
Russ can elevate
God.
if he's playing consistently a whole year above Mahomes. If you got a guy like, say, I think Dak maybe is just on the knife edge there. But
Jalen
yeah, I
Hurts?
know this is definitely
Brady?
Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts'
Brady, yeah.
passing game, Brady 100%. I can see him finish above Mahomes.
So
Look,
that's 2
there is
more. So that puts him at
there's
7.
Joe Burrow, Trey Lance.
Oh, and Russ 8.
yeah.
Burrow?
Russell's 8. Burrow, I can see, yes.
Lance.
Trey Lance, yes. I can see there's Trey Lance hype because of the rushing upside. Look, Hurts,
There's
I don't
10.
know. I know this is definitely, look, I'm definitely going to get a lot of hate mail from everyone when they get their right to reply because I know this sounds ludicrous, but I just think he's going to be the most overdrafted player in this year's fantasy. I just don't believe the hype this year. I think stay away from Mahomes. He could drop down that far. That is just what I'm feeling. I'm going to stick by that call.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know who to go to next. Tay, you up?
Oh, it was just so surprising. Like I was kind of like I was sitting there just like nodding because I'm not really looking to take Mahomes in any draft either. Like I'm kind of off him a bit too because he's still going at like quarterback 3 basically in most drafts, and that's just sort of too high for me. And I think he's lost that complete upside of just being like a dominant quarterback 1 now. So he just, to me, in that spot doesn't seem really worth it. It is funny when we do our ranks like way too early and stuff. Like I thought I was like bold taking Herbert just over Mahomes and sitting him at 3, and now we're talking about a bold call even maybe not even being in the top 10. It's just so funny, like because I mean I picked Mark Andrews at 2, so like you know things change. And I even when I did my bold call, I would not rank Mark Andrews outside the top 5. It was just a bit of a bold call, and I had some stats behind it. But
we're not saying, okay, man, like, change your ranking. Yeah, we're not saying that.
Exactly.
I'm fine with this. Is why you do bold takes, because it sort of just like outlines the guys that you're kind of out on. And you know, it's good for you to just go, you know what, I'm not going anywhere near Mahomes at 3 or 4 or whatever. So I'm just going to say, you know what, I'm going to double down and I'm going to say he has a very shit year and he ends outside the top 10. So I've got no issue with you doing that. I don't agree. Like it's hard to sit there and
water
say
betting
this. Like there's no way I agree with the sentiment, and I just think he's got enough there with Kelsey. And you know, I think that you could probably mold guys like Juju and McCole Hardman and Sky Moore into like one really good receiver. So I just think they're going to probably have 30, 40 yards each every single game, and that's going to turn into an extra 160 on top of whatever the fuck Kelsey does. So I think he's still going to do enough, and he's going to have enough red zone looks with Andy Reid. And I think the offense is going to be good enough to at least have him around that top 5. But, you took your shot, man, Joel. You're just saying that you're not going to have Mahomes in any draft.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is. But I can also see that sort of decline happen. It's happened to other QBs before, like Ross. I mean, it was injuries, but still, I do still think he can rebound Ross. But he did have that bad year last year because of injury and then just coming back and not being the same. Yeah, there's other QBs across history who've had just a big fall. And I just think, I think at least one a year has a big fall fantasy wise or in real life wise, where we're like, this guy is just absolute dog shit this year, and you cannot take him as a seriously elite QB anymore. Now I'm saying Mahomes is just not. He's not going to be elite. It's just fantasy wise. I think there's other guys that could be better, that have more upside than Mahomes. His downside is just glaring at me a lot, and that's just what I'm feeling with Mahomes 8 to 10. Yeah,
trying to make a point of it. Marky Mark, tell us what you're thinking.
I don't hate it. Taylor's right. It was just shocking to hear 10.
Yeah,
you just think like the guy has been otherworldly, even injured. He was still dominant, and then to think he just loses Tyreek Hill and all of a sudden he's dog shit. I think Hardman will take. I mean, he's not Tyreek Hill, but he will still have that field stretch ability.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you're right. He's definitely going to come back to the pack. And
you got MVS there too. You can
absolutely,
take the top off. Yeah.
Did lose
that's a great
Byron
replacement.
Pringle, so you got to
Yeah.
fill the
Oh,
Byron
mate,
Pringle
yeah, got
void.
Pringles.
You got to fill the Demarcus
Yeah.
Robinson void. Like,
You
there's
need
some
that
big
can-
names.
I mean,
Huge
he's got to be really careful. He's got Matt Moore on his ass. He will take over.
Oh no. That would have been bold. Me and John just comes out and says Matt Moore's taken over.
Matt Moore,
Yeah.
top 25 QB. Yeah, that would have been the line.
Bring us back to Chad Henne days.
Chad Henne, my favorite Jaguar.
Miami great, Chad Henne.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of shared quarterback between us teams in South Florida that we're teal, mate. There's quite a bit.
South Florida.
Yeah. I think there's been a few. Now, Tay, I'm a bit nervous because your first one, I didn't hate it. I didn't agree, but I didn't hate it. I feel like I'm really going to hate this one.
I don't know. I don't know if you are going to hate this one.
Just gut feeling, mate.
It's not going to seem absurdly bold at first, I don't think. But what I'm basically doing is I'm talking about two running backs at once here, and I'm pairing them together because they're very close in ADP, and they're both just very, very good value running backs. And I think that there's that dead zone when you get around Breece Hall. And sitting around the running back sort of 20 to 25 range. I actually like these two far better than that range. And I just think it's perfect because you can start drafting wide receivers in that section, then go these guys. So I'm going to talk about two running backs at once. One's sitting at ADP of 31 and one's sitting at an ADP of 35. I'm saying they both end up as top 15 running backs. I might even just say their stats before I actually name them. So last year before this guy got injured, 60 yards per game, 5 touchdowns in 6 games, 20 receptions for 161 yards, 521 all-purpose yards, top 10 running back in fantasy before being injured. And he's ranked at 31, which is just unbelievably low. This guy in 11 games last season, 589 rushing yards, 43 receptions of 311 yards, 900 all-purpose yards, only had 2 touchdowns, but this, if anything, just gives him reason for positive regression this year. And he moves on to an offense that will feature him as a lead back and will target the running back constantly. So running back 35 is absolutely absurd. Anyone want to have a guess what the two might be?
I feel like one of them's a Dolphin.
I feel like one does Melvin Gordon, to be honest.
Maybe one of them's not Mostert. Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds is one. Bang. Chase Edmonds was the second one. He's ranked at 35.
Yeah.
So he was the one of 900 all-purpose yards and only 2 touchdowns.
Well, and I know you've just been so big on how much walks out the door at Arizona when Chase Edmonds leaves, and that seemingly no one on earth is going to be able to fulfill any of it except James Conner. So I kind of had a feeling that when you mentioned a really big number, it had to be the prodigious Chase Edmonds.
So the other one's Kareem Hunt. He's just perennially underrated. Like it's just ridiculous. Like the difference between him and Chubb in drafts is just absurd. Like, don't get me wrong, I've always been a Chubb truther. Like I always love a good Chubb. We all know that.
Yeah.
But
look guilty,
Kareem
mate.
Hunt is just Kareem Hunt every year is just absurdly drafted behind him. Like it's just the distance between the two is absurd. Like Kareem Hunt always spells him. Even like when they're both healthy, Kareem Hunt is very, very good in fantasy. He just gets so many receptions. He gets goal line work. They still go to him there, and he gets a lot of the red zone looks. They basically halve it. It's almost like a Gordon and Javonte situation. So I just think he is just so low, and for what he can do. And again, everyone always talks about what Chubb can be if Hunt goes down, and what could Hunt be if Chubb went down? Like he could be ridiculous on that team. He could just completely take over. So I think he is ridiculously low at 31. And like I said, Chase Edmonds, to me, everyone's worried because they just ended up with 700 running backs at Miami. But I don't think any of them are stopping what Chase Edmonds does. They brought him in first. Outside of the guys they already had.
The 8 guys they already had.
Yeah, the 8
Mark
guys they already
Gaskin.
had that they just shafted away. I just think he's the
Lucky yourself
perfect
on that,
guy.
mate.
And I just think the new regime targeted him because he was perfect for whatever offense that they're going to run. He is awesome in the backfield and receptions. Like he can just, he's going to be perfect as a dump off for Tua. But he's also really good on the ground as well. Like he has a really good yards per carry every single time, which again proves that he doesn't need a huge workload. Like if they're going to go to you guys like Sony Michel and Mostert, and is Gaskin alive? I've got no idea. I don't know if he's got any gas left in the gas tank, but he's still there apparently. Yeah. Salvin Ahmed and everyone else. Like if they're going to go
Isaiah Ford
behind him, like I still think Chase Edmonds leads that backfield. Whether it ends up being like a 50-50 between the others or 60-40, I don't know. But he's going to get enough that he's going to get a really good yards per carry and he's going to have enough receptions to make himself relevant. Again, I don't know exactly what the touchdowns are going to look like because often he's probably not the best goal line back. So the fact he only had 2 touchdowns may stay similar this year. I don't know. But if let's just say he has 3 or 4 touchdowns this year, he's only going to go higher than he was last year. So I just think he's a really good player. And I think there's a very good chance that both of these guys could slip into the top 15.
Oh, we've got to go to our Dolphins insider on this one, Marky. Come on. Tell us the home truth about this. Is Taylor onto something or is he a knucklehead?
I can hope he is.
Well, I can hope he is which.
I hope he's top 15. Look, the only thing that I think will take some work away from him is Sony Michel, because I think he can lead the backfield. And then they will scheme Mostert in. Like they've already said that McDaniel's already come out and said he will find ways to use these players. Like he just wants to get the ball in their hands and let them do what they do best, which is great. I can't find the stat. I was just trying to look for it. I know, like Tua's an RPO quarterback. That's what he does. And it was either like top 3 or something in the league for RPO plays. The problem is last year we didn't have the run, so it was just pass option, and really they just fucking send the house at him and no problems. They can stop that. So now there is multiple run threats. So I can actually see you're right. They are going to run a lot more. And actually,
Most it's also going to be injured in like 4 seconds.
Hey, he's back. He's back, and we're excited that he's back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited he's back, and I'm not excited.
Yeah, half of the podcast is excited they're back, Tay. Sorry.
Yeah, Taylor.
But no, I like the call.
I'm agnostic.
I do, because he's right. He's right. They brought him in first. They went after him. They paid him, so they will use him.
And again, like you said, they'll scheme Mostert. Michelle will get a fair bit of work. I don't mind that for a guy like Edmonds, because Edmonds has never been like a full workhorse back getting what he gets anyway. Like I just think he's going to get the same, if not slightly more than what he got at the Cardinals. And he was a very useful running back in fantasy at the Cardinals. So I just can't see it being anywhere near being running back 35 unless he got injured.
Fair enough. Hey, Manjot, you've got to have 2 cents on this, don't you, mate?
Yeah. Look, with Edmonds, yeah, I can kind of see it. But again, there's so many mouths to feed. You got Waddle. He could do some rushing. Tyreek can get a little bit of work too. There's going to be Gesicki to throw to in pass game. And then you got all these running backs. So Edmonds, like you said, he doesn't need much volume, but he can still be pretty good, like you said. But I'm just a bit concerned that they have about 7 or 8 guys to feed, and then it's just going to be a mess. And then Edmonds might be forgotten at the end. But look, I can kind of see it. I'm half and half. I'm on the fence here. It's just I can see the talent and the potential and the upside, but on the other side, there's so many mouths to feed that it's a little hard to justify it for me. So, yeah, at the moment, it's a bit of a pass for me on there. Whereas Kareem Hunt, yeah, it takes one injury from Chubb to just have Kareem Hunt go off this year. But the thing is, Chubb is a workhorse. Dude squats 600 pounds. I I don't know about his injuries. Then again, Derrick Henry got injured, but if you look at the Browns, they're gonna have enough rushing volume if you can really go to start Jacoby Brissett or Josh Rosen at QB for however long Deshaun Watson gets suspended. As usual, we talk about it. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
We have to talk about it once every episode that we're obligated.
It's pretty much, yeah. You got to remember that Deshaun Watson is going to get suspended. We just don't know how long because the NFL just keeps delaying the decision. But I think Deshaun, his loss is going to be, well, his loss as in you're not going to get, because they haven't had him yet, so you can't say he's lost. but like what
So
you're
Browns.
not going to get in Deshaun and you're going to get in, yeah, the Browns QB situation just confuses everyone. But yeah, what you're going to get in Rosen and Brissett, you're not going to get in Watson. You're going to get way more Watson. But yeah, they're just going to be a ground and bound team. That's the only way they can really win, because you're not going to put the game on the back of those QBs. You're going to put it back on those two RBs that you have, and Giannis as well. You have a three-headed monster there. And look, that's why I can see Kareem have the most value is in the first however many Watson games are suspended, sort of thing. Yeah, but apart from that, and also if Chubb gets injured, but apart from that, I'm not sure about Kareem as well. So yeah, another pass there for me for top 15. Yeah.
Well, my only nervousness about it is if we've got two Dolphins receivers in the, we're saying probably top 12 to 15 kind of range. And then we're also saying that they're going to have all these, this magic from these running backs. I just don't know there's enough time and space for it to all happen. But, I've probably got a little bit more faith.
Are we talking 2013, sorry, Broncos sort of numbers?
And I don't think
Dolphins.
I don't think Tua
we're talking
break
about
every
the
record Peyton Manning.
We're talking 1972 Dolphins undefeated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think in general, I've just got less confidence in the guys backing up Chase Edmonds than you guys probably do. I don't know if you're just saying you're hugely confident in any specific one, but you're worried because there's like 8 of them.
Yeah.
But I think the fact there's 8 of them just proves my point. Like there's just so they're not confident in anyone but they paid Chase Edmonds and everyone else is just either just already there from a different regime or just someone that they just paid like $1 million or $2 million that they could cut at any time. I just don't think they're really confident in any of those running backs behind Chase Edmonds. And I think they're just going to use a plethora of them to work it out. And I don't think all those running backs are going to be on the roster throughout the whole year. I think a lot of them are going to get booted.
Yeah, it's that San
Francisco
offense. Yeah. It's that San Fran offense that just scares everyone, I reckon, including myself, where you always just didn't draft an SF guy until maybe Mitchell came along, because it's just messy. You can't predict who's going to get the game script every week and everything. So that's
That's not true. We always draft Frank Gore, and you don't ask questions. You just draft Frank Gore.
Yeah, pre-Shanahan, yeah, of course. But yeah, the Shanahan offense, 100%. You would not know who would get it. You could even have like Hasty or Mostert or whoever the hell you want can be a running back.
If Gore was on that roster, I would still take Gore. Even now at 141 years old.
Yeah, even now.
I will, sorry, I was just going to say quickly, just to tie a knot in my, the call I just made. Yeah. I would say that both of these guys have like a lower ceiling. Like I think 10 to 15 is like their full-on ceiling, these guys. Like you saw Chase Edmonds last year. Like he's always going to be like a guy that's only going to get 50 to 60% of the work. Like even if he was the only guy, they would have to find someone else to sort of compensate that. So I'm pretty much going close to their ceiling with that top 15, but I was more trying to prove a point that where they're going in drafts at 35 and 31, they're just such good value, because I think like the ceiling's probably 10, but I feel like their floor's like 20. And I feel like if you can get anything in between 10 and 20 and you're paying a draft price of 31 and 35, I just think they're amazing value.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
All right, I'm gonna dive into my last one, and we're looking at the clock now, so I know I'm up against it, and I'm gonna get it out quick, and you're all gonna hate it or love it because that's what bowl calls are. Travis Etienne is going to be a top 10 running back.
Yes, I can debunk the shit out of this.
Oh, you've already taken mine. I had a third one.
That's what I'm doing. James Robinson is back, and he's not on pup. And like our mate Cam Akers, who really came back strong after that Achilles injury, I'm terrified of James Robinson's return, especially since he's a very low capital player from 2 regimes ago. Even on a terrible offense in 2020, which was trailing a lot, the Jags found a way to run the pill, and Robinson found 240 attempts out of the 337. So he got a 71% share, and I think that's not likely, but it's a team who I don't think is going to be trailing as much. So I think the opportunity for those sort of touches will be there. And I think ETN is a better player than James Robinson. But he also found a way to get, even though he played 14 games that year, he found 60 targets. And I don't think that's beyond ETN to find himself with that sort of target share as well. So, look, they've bought up on some free agents, and the other teams that in the division are awesome, right? They're amazing, all those teams in the AFC South. If you think the number 1 seed in the AFC this year is coming from that division, I'm not even here. I'd like that. It's just not happening. So I'll submit anyone to a head assessment who thinks that's really, really true, or a drug test, or whatever it takes. Feed him a Kirk Cousins lettuce sandwich and give him a dose of reality. I just think he's one of these guys who could finish running back 32, but I think he could finish 10. So I'm putting my bucks on 10 because it's both. It'd be cool to see, and also I'm a Jags fan.
Yeah.
Kill me. Go. We got 2 minutes.
Yeah. Look, I'm just gonna straight up say it. I'm gonna disagree straight off the bat. Okay, look, if you can list 10 running backs, that's what I'm saying. Okay, you got Taylor, you got Chubb, Eckler. This is not order, by the way. Taylor, Chubb, Eckler, CMC, who else?
Dalvin.
Yeah, Derrick Henry.
Dalvin.
6. Look, who else is there?
I think they put Najee in there.
So there you go. So 7.
Najee,
He can finish
Elijah,
7.
I think
maybe.
DeAndre Swift would be better.
Yeah, Swift, Javonte. Yeah, there you go. That's
Swift's
Aaron
never going to be on the
Jones.
field
Aaron
enough.
Jones. That's 11.
Fat Lenny.
Yeah. Even
See, I'd buy
AJ
Lenny.
Dillon. Yeah, AJ Dillon could even be better.
No, not happening.
Yeah. So this is.
I reckon
Look,
Etienne's got a better chance of a top 10 running back than AJ Dillon. I'm going to say that.
100%. 100%. Okay, I can give you that one. Yeah, but I'm just saying there is 10. I can at least list 10 that are better than him. That's just the problem. So
better than? Okay, you can have better than. I just don't think you can score more points than him.
Yeah, scoring is the key. They have to back it up. They have to back it up. Back it up.
Who else wants to crack at my melon? Go on.
Do we have enough time? Or?
You got about a minute to have a swing.
I need 40. Well, I just want to have a massive dig at this.
All right,
it's twofold. My issue is twofold. You brought it. You sort of slid past James Robinson there, and you were kind of like, oh, like look how shit Akers was when he came back. I don't think it's so much that Robinson's going to be awesome with the work he gets. It's the fact he's going to take work off him. Like it's going to be basically let's say it's a 65-35 split, and you're still getting 65 of ETN in a ridiculously shit offense. I don't really see the value of how he's going to go to top 10. I get that James Robinson found a way into the top 10 in that shit offense, but he was getting 110% of the work. Like it was insane. Like,
71%.
There'd be no one behind him like taking anything off him. One thing we didn't even bring up about ETN is he's also coming off a bad injury. Like, for some reason, everyone just thought, because Robinson's coming off the late season Achilles injury, that everyone just thought ETN was just this perfect health. Like he's coming off an ACL tear straight in his first year into the NFL. And don't get me wrong, like he's got a far better timeline than James Robinson does with it. But everyone talks about the fact that people don't really come back from their first year off an ACL very well. It's often the second year. So I'm not sure that he's even going to be the picture of health compared to Robinson that everyone thinks he will be. So bad offense, not going to have a huge, like the biggest share compared to some of the other running backs that are in the top 10. And the fact that he's coming off a massive injury, I'm saying you need a head injury assessment, mate. You should ask Kalen Ponga. He knows all about him.
But I think you'll take pongers. That's what I think. That's slang. Pong is slang in Aussie for stinks, by the way, for those of you who come from across the seas. Marky Mark, are you going to dump on me too? Because I don't know. I don't know if I can take it from this idiot over here. Can I get some solidarity?
You know what? I'm going to stand up for my fellow Floridarian, if that's what we're called. And actually, you've taken my third one, so I'm going to just take the stats I already had written down and just apply them to this.
Taylor cannot believe this.
So, hi, Tua.
I've been here the whole time.
When we look at that Jags offense, you're looking at an offense last year that was 14.9 points per game. You bring in Doug Peterson. Okay, so the last time he had a what would you call him? Because he didn't didn't finish the season because he got injured. Last time Carson Wentz was actually good was when the Eagles went on that massive run.
Yeah, that one
and
time.
You're looking at 20. Yeah, the one time.
Can I just say you could have subbed in Doug Peterson as anyone that isn't Urban Meyer. Like anyone would be an upgrade.
Factually true, but anyway. That year, that offense, which when I look at the pieces, I don't see a lot of difference. 22.9 points per game. We know that when Peterson, because he can control a defense, he can get a locker room together. I just feel like that whole Jags team is going to be at least double what they were last year. I don't think that's outrageous to think, being that how bad they were. You are right, Tay. They were terrible. Although we did lose to them in London, so let's not go too hard. Bringing in the pieces they brought in, I can see everything going in the right direction. And I actually have Trevor Lawrence. This was what I was going towards. I actually had him as a top 8 quarterback this year.
Oh,
wow!
Another guy can put a head.
Just jumps on top of your bold call and just adds an extra.
Yeah, just put him above Mahomes.
I don't mind Marky standing on my shoulders if he's going to reach that high, mate. He's literally touching the cosmos with that. That's amazing.
We're getting to third bold calls now. Oh my gosh, do we even have the time?
But anyway,
stunning, Marky.
So I will back yours, Maddie, because mine assists that.
Wow. Yeah. So when I get my head injury assessment, it's nice to know I'm going to have some company, Marky. Thank you, mate.
Yeah.
I'll hold your clipboard.
Thank you so much, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it gets much bolder than 2 people saying the Jags are going to have this revolution in offense. So how about that, you guys? You're all dragging the chain. My regular
this revolution where they go from 14 points a game to 16.
22. 22, I had it written down.
As bad as we were last year, we rushed more last year than the year before, too. It's trending in the right direction for rushing.
Yeah, but does anyone remember Doug Peterson's last game in Philly? You're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, we don't want to remember.
Yeah, I also think, Philadelphia is a unique place where you can have a coach who will average you 10 wins a year and you will chase him out of town like he's a bum. Like those, they are not the people to be making a smart football conversation with. Yeah. So, Philadelphia, at me. I don't care. At Matty Podcast, come after me. I know there's none of you, so I don't mind. There's more Jags fans in the world than actual Eagles fans. So I'm all right because I've met the other Jags fans.
We love
There is another one. He lives in Gungahlin too. It's great. Josh, if you're listening.
Mark Downey, apparently.
Mark.
It's all Florida.
We're all teal. We're all in Florida.
One team.
We stick together until we play in London, and then
one team.
They have
to
take that game off American soil. That's how important that is. You can't even host that in America. It will divide a nation.
Also, Tay, as we know, Florida is also in Queensland. So
it is. They're all eligible to play for Manjot's Maroons.
All I care about is I get my 12 beers every single year. So, hopefully the Jags aren't scoring too many points.
I'm hoping you enjoy that donation of Sing Tao every year or whatever shit cheap beer I buy. I've been getting your calls lately, actually.
Great.
I've been playing
it right. I'll take anything. My body's a dumpster.
I'm going to let Marky Mark run off because it's almost been 9 on a school night. Marky Mark, thank you so much for coming along. We will make excuses to have you back.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks,
It's been
Mark.
terrific. And
Tua
nice for you to get
says
the
thank
chance to
you.
meet Manjot too, which is great.
I did.
Yeah,
in person.
I'm
through chat.
I'm a person, you know. I'm just not a figment of Maddie's
Despite-
imagination.
Despite what TC says, yes.
Yeah. TC, man. He needs to meet me someday. He needs to realize I'm an actual person. But yeah.
He
Just
still
how
won't believe you.
lockstep
I was
we
going to say the
are.
sad thing is that guy would still argue.
Oh, he would. Yeah.
Yeah, he would.
This is why it's great to have, as owner of the franchise and now bringing in a president of football operations and really sharing a lot of this responsibility. It comes up in the chat just how lockstep Manjot and I are, that people are pretty convinced Manjot and I are one within the same body. So,
Yeah. So tomorrow's
tells you
exactly
everything.
1 month until the draft. So let's get the countdown going,
on.
everyone. Yeah.
All right, Marky
And
Mark.
tomorrow is the anniversary of my 900th mock
His
draft. I've
900th.
done breaststroke. So.
He got
Very
there.
nice.
You're going to
Fuck,
get
mate,
the
you've been
solid 1,000.
You've
Yeah,
been going slow.
yeah, I've slowed down in my old age.
The sickness has been getting to you.
Oh no, devastating.
Yeah.
Licking too many rhinos.
He's a bit slower now. He's going to drag the trophy around. That's what it is. Slows him down. It
That's
makes
it.
him less aerodynamic.
It'll do it.
All right, Marky Mark, we'll let you skedaddle.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks,
See you,
Mark.
fellas.
Catch you later.
Mark.
And he starts going like he just goes absolutely mental and then like nearly explodes.
Like the game show version of playing Nick Kyrgios thing.
Ozzy,
So just to clarify, one team scores more points and they both lost to the Jets. So you take the team that scores more points.
Yes.
NFL,
You guys made me really thirsty with all those like trophy picks. Like,
The trophy is making me thirsty.
fantasy,
Who won starts the week, by the way?
Let's not talk about it.
Okay, fair enough. On to the next one.
this is what 20 years of being a Jacksonville Jaguars fan does to a man, I reckon.
I feel like this was so much easier when I wrote it down. You guys are making this sound so hard.
this is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
But it was in the Brady era. Yeah.
Everything's in the
Yeah.
Brady era, mate.